Hey guys, Deathletter Magic here, and hopefully you had an opportunity to go to a pre-release event because, of course, as always, it was pretty fun. Even in the past when sets have been kind of bad for pre-release, it's still fun because usually the people there are really fun people. I mean, seriously, one time I went to like a fancy restaurant with a bunch of stuck-up rich people talking about, what fancy college their kids were going to and what fancy car they just bought, and I literally wanted to throw a chair. Those boring, fake-ass, stuck-up people, seriously, give me a room full of geeky people playing Magic anytime. And as is the norm this time around, we had amazing people at the pre-release. Of course, really fun, funny, telling jokes, and just hanging out, being awesome. But unlike what I said before, this actually did seem to be a pretty fun set for Sealed. And, they aren't all gems. Sometimes it's draft-oriented. Sometimes the set is very constructed-oriented. Rarely, unfortunately. And sometimes it's very Sealed-oriented. Probably on accident because, why would they do that? But in case you didn't catch it, they did say that I think starting with this set specifically, they were going to fix draft and sealed simultaneously by making one small but also major change. They would put more answers to the bomb cards in the rare and mythic slot in the common and uncommon slot so that you're more likely to have access to them at a higher number. I don't know how close y'all looked at the cards from this set, but wow! There is some crazy power in the common and uncommon slot, and a lot of them are great equalizer cards, I would say. The big undoers, the ones that'll get you out of a scenario. So because of that, it was really difficult for anybody to just drop in a card and run away with the entire game with it, which I think is fantastic. So huge improvement there. But in general, the personality, the feel of this set, not just based on my deck, but looking around at what other people were playing, how they were playing, how long the games went, what tended to win, what tended to lose. It seems like pretty much everybody wasn't thrilled with their pool, and the couple people that were didn't necessarily just absolutely run the entire event. So it was very, very luck heavy and skill heavy, which is really nice. I mean luck of the draw, not luck of what you get in your pool. That's what we're moving away from. So there was a lot of standoffs. There was a lot of, no, I'm going to run away with the game with this, but it's a 2-2 flyer. The big okay, I got to do something about this was kind of weak but concerning, which gave you enough time to react to it if your deck was built properly and if you could draw stuff at the right time and if you saved your removal to an appropriate time. So like I said, very decision and skill heavy. I can always appreciate that. And speaking of that, I went completely undefeated. Not only did I not lose a round, I didn't lose a match. And my deck was the most unexciting, bomb-free, generic blah deck. I'd give it a 6 out of 10. Or if there was a power scale of disaster to holy crap, this would be maybe 60%. It was maybe a hair above average, but I wasn't happy with it. It was a lot of just blah stuff, a lot of lack of synergy. And I would have actually had the mother of all decks if I would have added a third color and dropped the weaker cards. But then in all three colors, the game enders, the most powerful cards, were all devotion, which doesn't work so well with 3-color. So I couldn't do that, but wow, my other 2-color piles were just not going to happen. They were just disasters. We're talking 1/3 rejects or higher, and the remainder was very either top heavy or just... it's supposed to be a synergy card, but I have none, that kind of stuff. So a lot of people were like, wow, I had to put, at least 50% just weak, useless crap into my deck. And pretty much everybody across the board said that, but because they did it, there you go. So what I think the problem was is it doesn't look like there's a lot of vanilla creatures in the set because they're enchantments or they have Constellation or something. But when you don't have the constructed planning to kind of make it work, it basically is a vanilla creature. So combat ambushes, aka instant speed boost spells, and equipment and to an extent auras were very, very, very important, and removal was extremely important. So my deck had, I think, 5 removal spells and I went 43 cards. And I mean, I think the most bomb card I had was the 7-cost triple trample guy, the 5/5 with 000 mana, which honestly was kind of irrelevant. I actually got him out of one game and he died instantly, so that's the only time I got him out. But yeah, my 5 removal spells went pretty darn far. I mean, the first game, the dude cast something, I blew it up. Cast something, I blew it up. Cast something, I blew it up the whole time I swung, and then I just beat him. I was like, holy crap, I feel a little bad. Okay, maybe this deck isn't as bad as I thought. But I feel like I got a little lucky. A lot of my opponents just could not draw what they needed, or I just drew exactly removal for exactly what I needed when I needed, or I would have lost. I won some games by 2 or 3 life. I mean, it was close. But my deck really, really worked well. It was really carefully assembled, let me just put it that way. What I rejected and why was very subtle, and what I included and why was very subtle, but it made a big difference. So I would say this set, very, very skill and experience heavy. Like, you really cannot slip up in the deck building, or you're going to go from a blah deck to like a useless deck. And unfortunately, I saw a lot of useless decks floating around, and my deck was like 3 or 4 or 5 cards away from being useless, so maybe there's that bad luck. But I don't know, I mean, maybe they could have made a better include or exclude decision. Maybe they were overweighing, a card's importance and that kind of stuff. You never know. Now, there is one more interesting point that I think has a little lesson to take away from this. This is not normally something that I pay any bit of attention to at all. I don't care. I sincerely do not care, and I'm not conscious of this. But since Wizards won't shut up about it, now it's on everybody's mind. So I looked around and thought, okay, so who's actually here? It actually was pretty diverse, as they put it. I mean, all different age groups, backgrounds, body shapes, like skin color, like genetics, I mean, occupation, you name it. Like anything that would be classified as diversity, it was there. And nobody gave a shit. Nobody even thought about it. Like I said, if they would stop talking about it, making it like be a thing where you got to like check off boxes to make sure you have enough like non-white people there, then we could all just go on continuing to not give a shit who we sit down and play against, because I don't. But yeah, you can go ahead and pat yourselves on the back, Wizards, because we had appropriate diversity at this event, as if anybody gives a shit. The funny thing is we usually have like 4 or 5 female players. We had 0 at this one, but I think that was just a fluke, because at the last couple events, they really like had fun. They enjoyed themselves as much as anybody else because nobody acted like a stupid, macho, inappropriate, sexist dumbass. Imagine that. It's almost like back in reality where we live, unlike where Wizards lives. I went to school with females. I work with females. Most people have females in their family. It's almost like us dumb, knuckle-dragging caveman men can be around women without saying something sexist or inappropriate constantly and scaring them away from our men's hobby. That is just such a ridiculous fantasy. So, I mean, yeah, besides that, hooray, diversity. Can I go back to not giving a shit, not seeing people's skin color or caring or being conscious of it in any way now? Or are you going to keep constantly talking about it, Wizards? But now, and Wizards, pay attention to this next sentence, back to something that actually matters about the game. I think overall it was a well-designed set, at least for limited formats, and it's really, really, really fun. So if you missed one, definitely go like Saturday or Sunday if your store has one. And even if you did have a bad time because you had a disaster of a pool, bad turnout, or I don't know, for any reason, whatever, you went like 0-5 or whatever, I'd say hit it up again, because overall everybody seemed to be having fun. And the people with losing records were losing with close games. They at least got to like play. It wasn't complete blowouts. And the only sincere complaints I got were people who got stuck with a bye and they just weren't happy because they wanted to play, And yeah, that is always 1 hour of boring fun. The only other thing was people taking way too long, but like we kind of get it. Like one time, like everybody was done except for like 2 people, and they were clearly playing really slow, but they're also probably not, it seemed, the most experienced Magic players making, snap quick decisions and experienced, math and planning. They had to like think things through more and ask more questions like, okay, I get it, whatever. But we're still a little annoyed by that. So, if that happens to be you, try to learn the game a little bit better, just saying. Or just, generally play faster. Like, you might make a mistake, but you probably learn from it, just saying. Oh, and finally, I broke like a year-long streak of pulling just absolute dead-ass nothing when it comes to card value. I pulled like $70 worth of cards in like 4 cards. In fact, in the very first prize pack, I pulled one borderless alternate art, extended art, special showcase, limited edition, glow-in-the-dark scratch and sniff relic artifact card. I don't know what these stupid things are. It was cool and printed different, and I looked it up and it's worth money. Yay. Hopefully the retail price isn't BS and somebody actually buys it. Also, my promo was like easily $10 to $30. I actually didn't look it up yet. I probably should. Yeah, it looks like it might be about $15. That's cool. And of course, I got Mr. Triple Trample. He's about $23, so yeah, it's looking pretty good, which is good because I actually really couldn't afford to go to this pre-release, but I'm like, well, I'm not going to miss it. So it's good to finally once basically play for free and have it pay for itself. And you guys know how the price split was if you saw my last video. There's a ton of super highs and a bunch of super lows, not much in the middle. So it makes it really easy to pull a very expensive card instead of just, $4 card in a $4 pack. Cool, whatever. And all the funny artwork frames and all that stuff, that added a little bit to it, I'll be honest. So compared to other pre-releases, this is probably in the top, 20% of them. It was really well balanced. appropriately skill heavy and good prize structure and excitement and really fun, fair, appropriately powered mechanics, which is really nice for once. It was an absolute about-face reversal from some of the ones in the past. I mean, pretty distant past, a couple years ago, where it was just, oh, you pulled the bombs and then you didn't. And it was just, you could get absolutely nothing going synergy-wise because the mechanics needed to be way too tight. And then, yeah, whoever pulled the most bomb cards won, and that was that. So basically, your pool determined how you would do, and the gameplay was just filler. Those are poorly designed sets. Strangely enough, those sets were amazing for constructed, so it's like, it is what it is. But it's nice that they almost managed to hit both, and I say almost because there's like 5 cards in the set that absolutely should not have been printed. And speaking of that, one game was absolutely ruined by that stupid counter doubler shit. The dude just stopped counting at 64 counters because one hit and it would be lethal. Strangely enough, I won that one. But I watched some of his other games, and anytime it came out, it was just like, well, shit. Basically, you pull a removal or a death toucher, you're screwed. A game-ending automatic win card in the uncommon slot for 3 mana. Like, really, Wizards? Are you kidding me? Now, there were some other truly broken cards like Iron Scale Hydra, but I didn't see anybody pull it. So your experience may vary. You guys might have had some terrible games and terrible matchups with just cards that were just like, okay, now what do I do? I mean, just looking at this set, I would say control is very important, but mostly because of the rare and the mythic slots. But I mean, some of those white Exilers and the blue pin downs are there, so I mean, it's not impossible to stop those cards. It's just, you better stop them or you lose within a couple turns, which is annoying for how early and cheap and not rare some of them are. Like Hydra's Growth. But overall, very fun set to do the pre-release on, and I might, maybe, if I can get the gems together quick enough, which I doubt it, try to do another sealed event on Arena. I kind of just spent all my gems on the pass, but depending upon how long they leave it up, I might be able to make them back quick enough if I do well enough in some drafts. Which, I mean, if I draft this set, hey. But I don't think those drafts are live yet. So anyway, let me know about how your pre-release went. I'd love to hear about it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next video. Oh, and don't forget to type in the code PLAYTHEROS on Arena for 3 free packs.